Hello guys, welcome to Netlabs Hub. In this video, I'm going to show you how to configure Enterprise Auto-Discovery IPSec VPN Part 2. Part 1 is already done, it's on YouTube. So this is the topology, well cabled. It composes of 3 FortiGate firewall. This is the main firewall at head office, that's HQ. Then this is at branch 2. Then this is branch 1. This is a setup for a company that has 2 branches and 1 head office. So the branches, the local area network for the branches are synchronized to the HQ through the branch FortiGate firewalls. So in this setup, there are 3 ISPs. So the Safaricom provides internet services to the HQ. Then Comcast provides internet services to branch 2. This LAN here, it is served by Comcast here. And then branch 1 is served by Airtel. So all these links, the ISP links, are connected on each firewall via port 1. That's what you should know. Then port 2 on every firewall is used to connect to the internal network, local area network. You can see here, this HQ is connected on port 2, branch 2, port 2, then branch 1 is connected on port 2. The second thing, this kind of setup is used in modern enterprise network to enhance security, easier system administrations, in that when packet, generally the system admin or network engineer, the custodians of the network must ensure that there is safety for the packets that are present within the network. In that when communication happens from branch 1 to branch 2 here, it has to pass through the secure tunnel that is automatically created by this particular protocol, ADVPN, that is Auto-Discovery VPN. This is a hub and spoke VPN that uses IPSec tunnels to ensure that data is safe and is only available to the intended recipient. So the next thing, the head office here, it has almost all the services. You can see there is Ubuntu server here representing the data center or the domain controller. So the domain controller hosts all computers that you are seeing in both branches are managed through this particular domain controller here. Also, this network should be in position to communicate to any of these branches. That feature you should know. So another feature here that I'm going to configure captive portal. Captive portal is a scenario whereby when a user tries to access the internet, he or she has to be authenticated, and the logs or the logging is done. In that, for the safety of the user and also limited access to resources is only achieved through captive portal, so that system administrators ensure that resources are only available for the intended users. So the steps for this particular project, I'm going to configure, to start my firewalls, configure the interfaces and also assign IP address either through DHCP or static assignment. In this case, all the ISP are going, this port 1 are going to receive IP address automatically, that is through DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Then port 2, the ports or the interfaces facing the local area network or internal network, respectively from HQ to all the branches, are connected on port 2, and such interfaces are going to be statically assigned IP address from the specified LAN network. You can see I'm using class B because there is many users available on the network. You need to understand the classes, the IP address classes from class A to class E. So then there is a special feature on branch 1 here, in that on branch 1 I'm going to configure captive portal. So let me start with the HQ. I'm going to assign IP address on port 2 and port 3. There is a scenario that also you need to understand. This topology, all these firewalls are managed through port 3. And you can see port 3, it's connected, but I have hidden it here. You see? So this is the cloud. This cloud is connected to this server. Let me just explain that particular kind of management. This server will issue IP address that will help us to manage the FortiGate firewalls. So now, because this cloud has just 2 ports or 2 interfaces, and I have 3 firewalls, I had to use an open switch here so that all port 3 from each firewall is connected to this particular switch. Then later there is a link between the switch and the cloud. So I did that to ensure that at least my workspace looks clean. I have hidden this setup that way. So it will remain with this. So at this point, I'm going to access HQ firewall. I'm going to make it at least bigger for you to see. So this is step 1, configuring interfaces, assigning IP address, enabling services on that particular interface. So for the first time, the password is empty. I set the administrator password. From this, I set the host name. The function of host name is just to help the firewall to be identified on the network, or it identifies the device on the network for easier troubleshooting. So at this stage, I have set the host name. Then next, I'm going now to configure the interface, config system interface, then edit port 1. We set the mode to be DHCP, set alias, that is a HQ LAN, then set role, it's HQ1, because port 1 is connected to the ISP. Then set the role, it is a 1 role, set allow access. So this allow ping HTTP, that is okay. So at this stage, we move next to port next, then edit port 2, set alias HQ LAN, set role LAN, set IP. We set the mode in FortiGate firewall. You set the mode before you assign IP, whether automatic or static. So 172.30.20.1/24. Set what? Set allow ping HTTP. So at this stage, we are done with the port facing the local area network. So now I'm going to configure the management port 3, set mode. On the management port, I'm not going to configure a lot of services, but I'm going just to enable web capability. So that is enough. Then set alias HQ MGT management. So at this point, I have successfully configured the three interfaces, the WAN interface, the LAN interface, and the management interface. If we want to verify what we've done, we use the diagonalized IP address list. Then you'll notice that this is the IP address for the WAN, wide area network. That's the ISP, that is Safaricom, connected to headquarters. Then this is the gateway for the local area network on port 2. Then you will realize that the management is on this particular subnet, marrying the server. You can see. So at this, on the HQ, I will take this, then put here 158. This is the IP for the ISP, that is Safaricom. Then at this stage, I am done with this and the management. So I will access this firewall in the browser, 192. You see, headquarter office is accessed. I'm not going to save anything. So we begin to establish this. Once we have accessed the firewall in the browser, we just extend the idle time so that we are not locked out. So I will extend it to the maximum. Once I will do that, I save. Then I go to branch 1. So on branch 1, I'm moving a bit faster. So at this is branch 2. So then this one will come 1, no problem. You can see branch 2, branch 1. So I'm going to configure this a bit faster. Admin, setting administrator account. After setting administrator account, we set the host name, that is branch 1. After setting the host name, we configure the WAN interface, set mode DHCP. Set alias. Then after here, it's okay. We move to the LAN interface, edit port 2, set mode static, set IP 172.30.21.1/24, set role, that is LAN, set allow access ping, then HTTP, then SSH, that's okay. Then set alias branch 1 LAN. So at this point, I configure the management, edit port 3. We set mode to be DHCP. So at this point, we allow the web capabilities, that is ping, then telnet is okay. So set alias MGT. So at this point, I have configured the 3 interfaces, and the 3 interfaces includes the WAN, the LAN, and the management. So you see on the management, config system interface, edit port 3, set allow access FGM, HTTP, telnet, ping, then SSH. So at this point, we diagonalize IP address. You see, it has received 130 as the one IP, then 85. So I'll come here, then I'm on branch 1. This is Airdel.130. Once I do that, then 85 is the management IP, 192.168.10.85. Remember, this was 84, so I'm hoping that 86 will be my management. So once you access, you validate the license here. After license validation, you just come on the system and extend the idle time. That is the first step once you access the firewall in the web. So then we are done. This is branch 1. Then I move to the last branch, that is branch 2. You set up the admin account. Then we configure the interface, config system interface, edit port 1. We set mode DHCP, set role 1, set allow access ping, telnet, HTTP. That's okay. Then once we do that, set alias branch 2, 1, then next edit port 2, that is the LAN port, set mode static, set IP 172.30.22.1/24, set role, it's a LAN port. The role, it means that it is a local area network interface. Then set alias branch 2 LAN, then set allow access ping, telnet, SSH. That's okay. After here, next edit port 3, set mode DHCP. So that set mode DHCP, it means that the IP address, the interface is going to be assigned IP address automatic. So we set this particular feature, HTTP, HTTPS, FGM, to help us access the firewall. So at that point, we are good to go. So diagonalize IP address list. It has received 101 as the one IP automatic. If we repeat, we can get now the management. I suggested that it will get 86, and it is just correct as per my guess. So at this point, I will access the firewall in the browser. So once the firewall has been accessed in the browser, you extend the idle time. So this is the basic setup. Once you do this basic setup, that is when we are moving to other the core objective of this particular lab, that is Auto-Discovery VPN for this particular company that has 2 branches anchored on HQ. So once we are done that, at this point on all the 3 firewalls, we enable the DHCP capability on the LAN interface. So to do that, you go to the network, then interfaces, then you locate where is LAN port. You see, this is the LAN port for branch 2 firewall. So at this point, you just enable the DHCP server. Let it start from 50. So that's the next step, ensuring that DHCP is working on the internal area network. So at this point, this one, let it start 50 also. Then same to HQ. So at this point, the internal nodes, the internal computers can get IP address automatically from the server. From the server here. So once we are done that, the next step, I have managed to configure this is 130, 108, then this is 101. Okay, so the next step, I'm going to enable to start these computers and the switch. So on this particular client here, I'm going to, first of all, I will start, then I will edit here to ensure that it gets IP address automatic. We save. We stop. We start again. Okay, so once I'm done on that, I will enable my domain controller. That is, this computer here is representing the data center or the servers that are in the server room at the head office. So what I have done, this particular server here, it is a separate, you see this Linux. The moment I start here, it will open a separate virtual machine here. You see it's starting. So I did this, I just installed the separate virtual machine, then I linked it to GNS3. So at this point now, I'm going to enable the DHCP. So this is branch 2. You see it has successfully gotten the IP address from the same branch. So I will just enable one by one. So once we are done that, I can check this if it has also received. So when it comes to this particular special client here, you just access the terminal. Once the terminal is accessed, you verify the IP by IP. You see it has received the IP here. So we are good to go. I'm not touching anything at this particular point. I'll configure the captive port and show you how to verify that. So the next thing, I'm going to configure now the Auto-Discovery VPN on this particular project, and I'm moving so slowly so that at least you can understand. Auto-Discovery VPN is one of the dynamic VPN, IPSec VPN used or implemented on enterprise network using the FortiGate Firewall, in that it uses what we call a dynamic protocol called BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. This protocol is used to synchronize and provide automatic IP address between the hub and the spoke. The hub is just the firewall or the device that is in control of other devices that are scattered on the branches. So in my case, the hub is this particular FortiGate firewall centered at the headquarter office or the head office, in that it manages these two firewalls. So this branch here, it might be in one country, then these two branches are in other country. So the network is just one. Irrespective communication from one country to the other, it has to pass the replica of such through the head office. So I'll go to the HQ to configure this firewall as a hub. But before that, I'm going to create a static route. A static route is used just to define the path through which the packets will follow, so that when this particular computer is accessing the internet here, which path will this particular traffic use? So I'm defining that particular path through the static route on the firewall. So at this point, I'll come to the network section, then static route. The static route, it means this one means any device on the internet, and it will pass through this particular gateway. Now that this IP address was dynamically assigned, it means my gateway here is also dynamically assigned. So I'm not going to specify statically the IP there, but what I'm going to do is just to pick this, then pick the WAN interface, choose that, it will give me the IP automatically. Then I do the same. Same applies to branch 2. So the static route will just help the packets to pass through or to have a definite path. This is how we configure the static route, and you need to understand the role of static route on the network. So the next thing, I'm going to create the rule for each local area network to access the internet. To access the internet, you'll come on the policy and objects, then firewall policy. You create HQ LAN to internet, so that the source is my area network, then outgoing interface is the one, then everything is all. You are going to pick everything is all, then schedule is always, then at this point you allow that. So on this, I'm going to enable NAT. Then at this point, I'll generate logs, then OK. So once I do that, I do the same on the other firewalls. So LAN to 1, the source, that is the interface bringing the traffic. Outgoing, it's the gateway through which the traffic will use to access the internet. Then at this point, I will allow everything to be all. Then you ensure that NAT is enabled. then you generate logs on startup. Then at this LAN to WAN, then the source is this particular interface. So LAN, then outgoing is the wide area network interface. The source, it means any IP within the subnet of the LAN. Then destination is everything. The service, I'm not going to customize to any service. So at this point, ensure that NAT is enabled. You see here, NAT is enabled. Then all sessions is chosen. Then ensure that generation of traffic is on the startup. So at this point now, I can confirm to you that I can be in position to ping the internet. So let's try to ping the internet. First of all, ping the gateway. You see, we are able to reach the internet. Let's ping Google. Google.com. You see? So successfully, I have configured this topology to ensure that I can reach the internet. You see? So while having done that particular step, now I'm embarking on configuring this particular IP, this particular FortiGate with the automatic IP that will help the creation of the tunnels to ensure that communication happens automatically. So you go to the VPN section. So at this, I will explain something. VPN is virtual private network. It is used to create a conduit, a separate secure tunnel between the internet, or communication happens from the local area network or internal network over the internet through the secure tunnel, so that the intruders or threat actors that are available on the internet are not in position to see your traffic. So traffic will not go through this interface. Once it's routed from this particular firewall, it uses a dedicated secure tunnel from the source to the end. So, and we've got two different types of VPN. We've got site to site, in this case, whereby there is a branch and HQ interlinked. Then we've got hub and spoke. This is one way. This is another type of IPSec VPN whereby we've got a central manager at the head office, and then it manages the branches over the internet. When this communication happens to the head office, it uses automatic created secure tunnel over the internet, so that the ISPs provided here cannot see the traffic that is coming from the internal network. That's what you should master there. Then we've got remote access VPN. Remote access VPN helps the users to access the organization network or resources while away from the premise. Then we've got the dial-up. Same applies to remote access. So these are the types of VPN that you should be in position to understand and know how to configure them. So I have done site to site, I have done hub and spoke, and then this one will come later. So once on the IPSec VPN, you choose that, then this one, HQ VPN, you give it HQ VPN, the name, then you choose the type of the template that I'm going to use. You see, the moment I pick hub and spoke, you see that the hub and spoke VPN will set up using auto-discovery using the BGP. This is the dynamic protocol that is used on the external network. That is, it is border gateway protocol. It's like a protocol that is between the internal network and the external network. So it is at the border. So Generally, this particular protocol will help us to synchronize all the routes, all the rules, and the policies related to this VPN. We are not going to create them statically the way site to site is done. So at this point, you choose the role of this particular HQ firewall as the hub. So once you choose it as the hub, you see the role of it is the hub. Then you choose next. At this point, you'll choose the incoming interface, that is the Safaricom link, then the pre-shared key. You give it the pre-shared key. Then we are not using the signature, we are using the pre-shared key, and ensure that the pre-shared key is the one that will use the pre-shared key, and the configuration keys are the ones that will use to authenticate the branches into the hub. Failure. You see, the moment I have just entered the pre-shared key, there is automatic tunnel IPs here. You see? So the power of this particular IP address, it has been generated through use of the BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. So you can leave it or change. This is the local AC, that is autonomous system. An autonomous system is just an area. It is just a collection of devices whose in common administration, or devices that are common administration. So at this point, I'll choose the local interface, that is that one. The moment I choose local interface, it will pick the local subnet there. If you have more than one subnet, you can use this plus sign to add. Then at this point, we are not going to use the range, but we are going to choose this individual. But remember, in my case here, I have 2 branches, but the hub has detected only one. So you use this to add another one. So these are the IPs that will be used, that the IPSec tunnel will use to communicate between the branch and the headquarter, vice versa. So once you do that, next, you create your VPN. At this point, you see there is Spoke 1, then Spoke 2. These are the configuration keys that I had talked about, and you can see here are meant for one-time use to automatically configure some of the VPN tunnels setting up your Spoke. So once you do this, I'll just copy the configuration key for branch 1, that is Spoke 1. Then I'll come on the IPSec tunnels, then create new, choose a tunnel here, then branch 1 underscore VPN. Once you choose this, you choose the hub and spoke, but this time this is not a hub, it is a spoke. You see? Once you choose a spoke, you enter the configuration key, you just paste, then you apply. If you fail to apply, it will not be, the branch will not sync or synchronize with the head office. So next, once you pick next, you see it has detected the remote, that is the hub IP address for the internet, this particular internet. The moment I have picked the configuration key that has been generated by the head office, then this one has detected the path through that particular IP. You should understand that. At this point, I will enter the pre-shared key that I used initially. Then next, you see, it has detected the previous IP address. It was 10.10.1.3, then 10.10.1.4. .4 it is for branch 2. .3 is for branch 1. Then all of them are from this particular subnet. So at this point, you pick the local subnet. You can add if you've got many. Once you are done, then you create. The moment you create, let's go to, I'll show you something. Let me copy the configuration key for Spoke 2. Then we come on the IP tunnels. you will see that already one dial up. It means that one tunnel is up. Let me just show you how. You see, one tunnel is up and already traffic is passing through. The traffic that is passing through is this one. You see, I tried to reach the internet. So that's why you see the tunnel has been up and it has picked the IP address automatically from the traffic is passing through the tunnel. So any communication that is done to the internet, it is not going to the internet direct. It is using the tunnel. So at this, I have authenticated this particular branch into, you see, the tunnel is up. You can realize that the traffic is passing through. So this is how you configure the Auto-Discovery VPN or hub and spoke. So let me authenticate branch 3. So you'll go to the VPN side. Then on the VPN, you'll choose the IPSec tunnel, then this one branch 2 underscore VPN, then hub and spoke. The moment you pick that one, it changes the figure here. This is the look. This is how hub and spoke looks like. You can create maybe as many branches as you like. For example, a company that has maybe branches in 43 countries, you can create 43 branches, all of them hooked over the internet to the hub, so that you can know whatever that is happening at a particular branch through the HQ logs. So this one is not a hub, it's a spoke. So you paste there the configuration key, then next. The moment you pick that, it will always pick the internet, the IP address for the WAN interface from the hub. It means the moment you use the configuration key, it will automatically detect the IP address for this particular link here, because this is the only link that will help any of the branch to see the hub. So once we are done that, we authenticate using the pre-shared key. When you enter the wrong key here, the tunnel will not come up. You see it has picked this one. I told you that this one was 10.10.1.3, but this one is for 10.10.1.4. So once you do that, you choose the local subnet. That is you see it has picked that. Then you create. These are the summary. It gives you the summary of what you've done. And if you are not sure, you can check and recheck and do the same. So you see, BGP is helping us to create automatic routes without going to the creating a static route for the VPN, creating the firewall policy for the VPN. Border Gateway Protocol is helping us to create dynamic routes for that particular tunnels to synchronize. So you see, once you are done this, then you can show tunnel list. You see it's down. So let me show you something. First of all, let me go to HQ and refresh. You'll notice something. So you see the tunnel now it has joined. You see 130 is for branch 1. You see 130 is for branch 1, then 101 is for branch 2. So the moment I have refreshed, the hub has compelled the branch 2 tunnel to come up. And in that scenario, you see traffic is alive. So the moment I do this, We wait. You see the tunnel is up without bringing it up manually. But if it is still, you can bring it down. For example, this way. I want to bring this tunnel down. So you will click here. It's not coming as I expect. So once it is that way, you access that, you can bring this particular entire tunnel. You see, the entire tunnel I have shut down. I have shut it down. So once I refresh this side on the hub, you will realize that one tunnel is offline. So you see, it is syncing, but you see traffic is now using one tunnel, but there must be two tunnels there because I have two branches. So in this regard, I'll come here, then reload. You see, the moment I have reloaded it, one face is up. So when one face is up like this way, the hub, the central controller here, has the ability to bring the tunnel up by default, because there is what we call auto negotiation. It negotiates. When the tunnel is up, it gives it some time. When it is not up, it forces it to be up. So you can see here. So let me show you. Let me show you something. You see the traffic? You see now the traffic. This is Kali. Kali is one of the server that I'm using to so this is a machine that is representing my domain controller, and you can see the logs. 43 seconds ago the source was this one, then destination, I'm accessing the gateway, then you can see LAN to the internet. That is the rule that is being used. It has sent how many packets? 5.7 kilobytes. So this is how you verify the communication using the logs. So let me now verify this. So I clear, then IP add. You see it has received 172.30.20.20. You see? So when we ping 192.168.122.158, you see we are able to reach the hub. This is the IP address for the hub. You can see this is the hub. So this machine here, which is the server, is able to reach this point. So I'm in testing phase. I have done configuring the automatic discovery VPN. So I'm on the testing phase whereby I'm testing communication, whether it's happening. You see, the server is able to reach the one IP address for the branch 2. You see this particular address, 101 is this particular address for the Comcast ISP. So this computer here is able to reach this one, this address. Let's test if it can reach the Airtel. The moment it reaches here, it means it can reach the local area network this side. So I will stop this one. You see it received 50, 2250. I will try to ping that. So I'll just create many ping 172.30.22.50. Let's try this 192.168.122.130. You see? It's able to reach. So let me now refresh. You will notice something. So at this point, it was accessing the gateway, the same machine. At this point, it is accessing the IP address for the branch 1. The internet, the Airtel interface, it is having this, you see. So at this point, it's also accessing the, you see it, the machine device is Kali. You see, hardware is on VMware, OS is Ubuntu. So this is how we can test this. Now, let me test from this if this particular client here is able to reach the internet. If it can ping the hub, ping 192.168.122.158. You see, it's able to reach the hub. (172.30.20.50). So at that point, this one is able to reach the hub, is able to reach this particular space. So let me check this DHCP space D. So when you use DHCP space -D, it means that it is going to recur you through the DORA process. Then you will see the discover, offer, request until you see it has received the IP address. So this one has received 11. Domain name, ping, (192.168). You see it's saying then there is no gateway found. So we'll go to the headquarter, then check on the interfaces. You come on LAN 2, LAN 1. You can see here. So everything is okay. So at this point now, I'm going to configure the captive portal. Let me refresh so that you can see the tunnels. You can see that all the tunnels are up. Two dial-ups. Two dial-ups, it means there are two tunnels there. So these are the tunnels. You see, the color for this one is totally different from this one. It is blinking in amber. It means traffic is passing. When you check around here, Kali Linux here, my domain server or the Ubuntu, you see, it's accessing. We've got this one, this one. Let me close this one. You see, I have several snippets here. You see, this one is accessing the hub, that IP address. Then this one is accessing the branch 1, this IP address. Then this one is accessing what we call, it is accessing the branch 2. So from the hub, any computer on the hub connected at the headquarter office is able to connect to any IP address on the ISPs. You can see. Let me resize so that you can see. You see, traffic is passing. So that's, and you see it is on a separate virtual machine. So at this point, I'm going to configure the captive portal so that we can test when this particular director accesses the internet, he has to enter the username and the password for him to reach the internet. So you will see the login page for the FortiGate Firewall. So this is branch 1. I'm going to access branch 1. The first thing, you come on the user authentication, then you create a user group. You create a user group called captive portal. Captive portal. Then at this point, there is no member. Once you create that user group, you create a user. So the type of the user is a local user. Then the name of the user is director. Then password is admin. There is no, two-factor authentication is disabled. So we add him on the user group. You see captive portal is here. You assign that particular user to the group. The moment you do that, so we are done in that particular section. So you will come on the interface, the local area network. Once you create the user and the group, then you assign the user to the group. You come to this particular interface. Then on this interface, you enable the captive portal on this. So once you enable captive portal on this particular port 2 interface, you will apply that particular security scenario to the rule that helps this particular computer to access the internet. Let's try to ping. So on this firewall, just a minute, let me be specific in terms of DNS. So I have configured the DNS here. So at this point, we go to the interfaces. Then on this network here, on this LAN interface, there is a part security mode. We enable security mode, then captive portal, the way it is. Then the type of authentication, you can authenticate captive portal users either locally or externally. If it is externally, I can configure this domain controller of mine, this particular server here, so that this Ubuntu server can externally authenticate users. When users try to access the internet, they have to enter the credentials created on the external server. So in this, I'm going to choose the local group. Then I'm not going to allow all. I'm going to restrict to a specific group. Then I'll choose my group. Within this group, there is a user called director. Then once I have done that, exempt sources, I'm not going to exempt anything. Then original packet, we specify, just say youtube.com, or maybe I can just say facebook.com. So when this user will try to go to facebook.com, this particular domain, he has to enter the password and the username. Then I can just give it captive portal. So once that is enabled, you will come on the policy and object. Then you click on this particular firewall. You see this rule, LAN to WAN. You see traffic has tried to pass through that. So you will edit this particular firewall policy, then attach your security profile. You attach your security profile here. So the captive portal is now assigned to this particular rule. So the source is all, destination, schedule is this, then action is this one. When we come to this, I haven't created the rule on that. Okay, so to summarize on this, the steps are: you create the user, you create the group, then you assign the user to the group. Once you create that particular user and you bundle to the group, you enable captive portal on that interface. It is almost similar when you configure security profile. A security profile, you will also create your profile and then assign to that particular rule. So you see at this point, there is no profile that is created, but if you happen to create one, you allow it on that. So at this point, let me now test. You see, you must log into this network before you can access the internet. So the moment you enable what we call captive portal, it is a portal that is used to manage resources on the network, so that to prove indeed you are the one who is in need of a particular resource. So The moment you configure captive portal the way I have done, you will get this particular notification that you must log in to this network before you can access the internet. So I log in. You see, I told you that this is the page that you have to get, that you will get to authenticate you to access the required services. So I'll enter the right credentials created on the firewall. That is, the username was direct and then the password was admin. The moment I do this, now I will access the internet. So at this point, it is verifying whether am I the one who claims you see, it is authenticating. So facebook.com. So you see the firewall is authenticating me. So before you reach here, if you type the URL facebook.com, you will have to enter the credentials before you reach to that particular. So this is how we configure the captive portal. Now let me show you how you can verify the creation of this particular VPN, how you can verify using the commands. You just come on the, for example, this is the hub. So we just clear and then show IPSec. So you see, these are the commands that we are going to prove whether we've got the tunnels or not. So you see IPSec, then we've got phase 1, then phase 2, then phase 1 interface, then phase 2 interface. Let me check phase 1. So you'll have to enter the phase 1 name. So the shortest way to do this, you'll just come on the logs, then events, then you pick on the events VPN. You see, these are the events that are being done on the firewall. So to summarize on this video, I have achieved the core objective of this particular project by configuring Enterprise Auto-Discovery VPN, that is hub and spoke, and it is part 2 because part 1 is already done. The steps have been interface configuration, then enabling DHCP capabilities on internal LAN interface, then configuring the hub, configuring static routes on the hub, configuring the firewall policies to allow the internal computers to access the internet. Once I did that, I now enabled the hub and spoke VPN by starting to configure the hub. The hub generated the configuration keys that I used to authenticate the specific branches. And you can see I have successfully achieved my target. All tunnels are up and the traffic is passing through. You see, if we come here, the tunnel is up. You can see traffic is passing. You see, traffic is passing. Same applies to. So I have successfully created the Hub and Spoke VPN. This is an enterprise company network, a company which has a headquarter in one country, then 2 branches in other countries. To be able to manage that, they are using FortiGate Firewalls, 1 at HQ and 2 at in branches. So thank you so much for following step by step throughout this particular lab. Feel free to subscribe to Netlabs Hub. Also watch, like, and comment. If you have any issue in this particular lab or related to VPN, please just comment on the channel. I'll promptly reply to you offering a solution. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe to Netlabs Hub.